By the way, Hollow really hates trap. The producer channels getting the most views are trap beat makers who basically carbon copy each other. I made a crazy beat. This sample is crazy. I made a beat in 10 minutes.
Is there something wrong with trap channels being more popular? Like what would be the issue that trap is outweighing any other genre of hip hop that isn't warranted or isn't granted? What makes it that trap itself should have less of a push than what it currently is perceived to have?
Obviously, I like trap. Max said we got to start creating something new for ourselves, a brand new lane. Oh, well, that's originally what trap was supposed to be. But then it became insanely popular, obviously, because it was kind of an amalgam of 1,000 different genres. Are you saying the beats are like clones of each other? If you give me a country song, 2 country songs, I'm going to think it's the same damn one because I don't like that genre. Or are you talking about the videos are doing it in the same exact and a presentation is identical? Because I do know every single trap channel has got the girl with the blunt in her mouth and a bikini, and it's just a solid album cover, no animations or anything. Like, if that's what you mean, that's a little annoying. But that's also people trying to follow the meta.
When I first got FL Studio and was moving over from Logic Pro to FL, I was looking up people who were like 5-minute beats. For one, I didn't want to watch Busy Works, spend 45 minutes telling me how to make garbage. And then 2, it was about learning the processes, quick keys, the windows, how to maneuver and stuff. I wasn't just listening to hear the beat. Like I don't watch people make beats so I can hear the beat at the end. I watch them make beats so I can see how they do it. I want to see their process. I want to see what they're doing and if they're doing anything different to get their work done than someone else's so I can improve my own process.
It does sound like Hull is a little sucked into his own algorithm a little bit. He said, search, I made a fire beat. Nearly all are FL and trap from big to small creators. Yeah. I mean, if I search it like that, yeah. But I think like as a whole, though, I think you're getting overly skewed results as far as every single channel being trap. I think kind of what A's saying too is even if that's true, like it doesn't really affect us all that much if every channel is trap. I mean, it affects trap producers more than the people in the other genres. Because if I produced EDM, I would hate for EDM to be in the meta at that moment because I'm not going to get viewed.
And I definitely agree with you, Leah, that if you add like Ableton to it, you get a different variety of type of beats. And I would say the same with Logic. You'll get kind of some trap, but you're gonna get a variety of people. Now, not so many people composing orchestral type stuff. That's definitely more niche down and requires some more keywords. But I mean,
clarified a little bit. He said, I didn't say every channel. I said they are the most numerous beat production channels. I mean, maybe. I think that when it comes to beat tutorials, because hip hop is almost the entry level, I would say that could possibly be true. I don't know. When I started producing, well, actually, I was already producing, but when I started to go onto YouTube about production stuff, the first person I got was Alex Rome and Andrew Wine. Those were the two that without me being programmed into kind of the algorithm. This was back in 2019, maybe 2018, actually. So I do understand like trap that really, really got popular over that span of time. But even if they were, that wouldn't change what I would ultimately be producing. If I came in wanting to produce country music, it wouldn't really bother me, but I kept getting overwhelmed with trap because I'm just not going to watch it. So I don't think that like trap is poisoning the well.
I guess doubling down on that, it's just that you can't really be upset that there's a minimal equivalent of an audience versus another that exists. Like it's just, if there's just more people who care about making trap beats, you can't change that. You can't say, well, we have to even out things so that all the beat makers are even on YouTube, and so we're just going to like shut down these trap channels like that. That's just not feasible. if people are more interested in something, that's simply what it is. If something's more popular, that's just what the outcome is. That doesn't mean that what you're doing is insignificant or irrelevant, but that then comes into, I guess, who really has to seek out where their smaller community of people is. Again, like, you just can't change the population of where people are. You live in a neighborhood, you can't change that population. If the majority of people all congregate to one place, you can't force them to not like that, or because you don't like congregating there, say that people should be congregating less at this place, or more at this place because that's your favorite place. That's not feasible. You can't change people's interest. All you can do is meet other people there who are already interested, and be satisfied with that, and work within those means. I say that the rap beat channel's 65% trap, 15%. There's a lot more lo-fi than that. I can promise you that. 20% boom bap.
Lo-fi.
Lo-fi is probably the most saturated.
He says, so many trap beats made by whoever sound exactly the same. They nearly always use the exact same 808, the exact same drum sounds and pattern.
I still gotta disagree.
That's country music in my head. No, I mean, but even if that's true, Hala, like, if that's true, why does it matter? Like, why are you bothered by it? Because if 90% of YouTube was country music, that wouldn't change what I'm doing or affect it. Because, I'm marketing towards a market that likes this music. Max says, you have to flow with the culture. You can influence the culture, but rarely do people completely change the culture. Well, yeah, you could definitely influence the culture, but it's true. Certain cultures are going to stay relatively the same. You flow with that.
If I speak the Hall of Sounds, I could say the same about it. As much as I love hip hop and in traditional classical hip hop, I could say that the exact same thing. It's just samples with the same rehashed drum loops. Like, what's to say that whatever style you're talking about, which I'm going, because we keep talking about hip hop, so I'm going with hip hop. If it's EDM, that might be different. If it's synth music, that might be. But if we're talking about like rap, hip hop, I mean, how many videos are there of people say, "Oh, I made a Premiere type beat. I made a Ninth Wonder type beat." There's people within that who are rehashing the same thing too, and they're literally rehashing the same producer names because there ain't no new big time producers. C. Lance is probably the last well-known classic traditional boom bap hip hop producer that will have a big name. Name another, like, if because you talk about how many carbon copy trap beat makers there are, but we can name many modern trap beat producers. You can't name a modern boom bap producer. Why? Don't matter. It's all the same. It's all the people. There ain't no new records. There ain't no new records from 1970s being made. New records from 1960s. Right? It's people sampling the same stuff, and then those people getting mad when there's loop stores that come out and they say, "Oh, well, I'm not using those loops. That's not real hip hop." Oh, but stealing someone else's music is real hip hop. Okay. Using the same loop that someone else used already off of a record, but because it's comes from a record, that's original. Like, nah, man. Like, it's easy to say that all of that stuff is all the same around the board. I mean, there's people who don't like hip hop at all and say all of it sounds the same to them. It's just a bunch of jabber jabber, blah 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 blah. People talking over some sounds. So I mean, I think it's too easy to dismiss that something sounds the same when there's any individual making stuff will say, "I don't sound like them."
I think that's just too subjective, because I think, in my opinion, some trap beats might sound similar to each other, but for the most part, they sound different. I think, like Hala Kiwi has said a few minutes back, he said, because I said, like, why would you care if that were even true? And he said, because I'm not able to limit my creation to carbon copy trap beats. And I don't understand why you want to make something that's oversaturated. In one breath, you're saying that this is so oversaturated, I'm so sick of hearing it. And in the next breath, you're saying nobody's listening to me because I'm not this oversaturated, convoluted niche, which help you. I mean, the reason that my channel started to move was I wasn't Busy Works Beats or Heat or Adam Ivy or these other channels, and it helped me. I don't want to be doing the same thing that's already popular because I'm not going to succeed in those genres or niches because why would I? I'm not 27 Hearts Beats, so I can't really compete up against them. And they're always in the meta with what they're making. So I wouldn't want to make something like what they're making because I'm not going to shine that way. Because I see those doing trap beats are growing the fastest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, it feels kind of contradictory. So how can they, are they growing the fastest, or are there too many for them to grow? Is it too saturated to grow in? And here's the thing. I also believe someone can grow in a saturated market. Not everyone is able to zig when people zag. Sometimes you have to zag with everyone else. And it's not a terrible thing to be a fish caught in that stream with everyone else. You just have to make sure that you're able to go with the flow, as I believe it was Maximus said, like, can you go with the flow? But to try to just sum up and say that these beats are all saturated, they're all carbon copy, and then you come back and say my beats are wildly different and sound a lot different. Maybe people don't like you're different. And I'm not putting that out and saying it's bad, but I can say, oh, I'm making this sound, it's different, ain't no one heard it before, it's the newest, it's the hottest thing. And everyone can disagree. They can disagree. They can say, nah, hey, that doesn't sound dope at all, my man. I don't care how different you're trying to be. That doesn't sound good to my ears, or I can't get down with that rhythm. And they're allowed to disagree with that. They're allowed to not like it. But if this becomes the trend of people not liking it, I can't be upset that people aren't attached to this thing just because I'm attached to it. Now it just becomes a personal thing. But I can't be mad that no one liked this thing that I worked so hard on. But then if I put some scraps together, say with some boop drums on it, boom, and it gravitates towards people, that's what it is. And then I guess to double down on that concept, we as biological creatures look for these kind of patterns or similarities or things that are easier for us to attach to. And that's not to say that I'm saying people are just going with the flow with each person. Like, we look for patterns. We look for patterns in flowers and in nature and everything. So when we find a pattern that we're comfortable with in that beat, in that sound, most people are going to be comfortable with it. It's just natural. It's not that people are even following each other. It's because that's what we biologically are looking for. So when you do something that's too far out the norm, some people just can't get with it because it's literally just too far out of that standard. And again, when you decide that if you step way over here and you're firm over here, but everyone's like, I can go here, but I ain't going all that. It's too much. You can't be mad that you're here. You can't be mad. And if people want to go here, what are you mad about? Especially if it doesn't stop you. Now, if it's actively hindering you, like you're in a battle with trap music, like, the dependency of your career and your livelihood and your beliefs are that trap music is detrimental and that you're doing your music as some kind of movement against it, yeah, I can see why it would bother you so much. But if you're just like, yeah, I'm doing my thing and people ain't paying attention, there's definitely something else to be looked at.
If you like your music, you kind of gotta find like-minded people that are into that. But to double down on what like A said, when you think about music, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's patterns that we're biologically programmed to enjoy. Because I have heard people who just don't know how to use their DAW yet, the music makes no sense whatsoever. Like everything's off, everything's out of tune, everything's off key. The VST choices are atrocious. And then they're like, I don't understand, it's all the same shit. Everybody just wants to hear the same shit. And it's like, no, just get a little better. You're gonna find your crowd. And then he said, because I see those doing trap beats are growing the fastest, but that's, in a city of 20 million, there's going to be more murders than a city of 12. And so if trap is the most popular genre right now, of course, trap channels are going to be growing fast. You're going to be noticing that more often because there's just more of them. There's going to be more arson and carjacking in a city that's huge just because of the law of averages. So if trap is as prevalent as you're seeing, yeah, for sure, you're going to start to see trap channels taking off. That doesn't mean that trap is taking off more than country. But like if there's more trap artists than country, more trap artists are going to take out beat makers, what have you.
So I make trap and, like, I just disagree because I don't use the same drums all the time. I have a set of drums that I use, but I think any real good or excellent producer has a kit. Like they have their kits that they go to. Once you've perfected the sounds that you're going to use, you use those over and over and over again to make sure your process stays quick. Example, Timbaland, Neptunes, any other, these are people who templated their sound so that they could keep making hits, period. That's what it's like. It's like they didn't make any music less that they loved. They perfected the craft in a way that they could churn it out quicker and keep doing what they love while making hits that are expected at the same time. And just to the argument of nearly always using the exact same drums, what does hip hop music do?
I mean, trap is known for those hats and stuff, but the patterns are always different.
Exactly. Hip hop music uses the same breaks all the time. I just can't get over the fact that you can say that it's the same when hip hop, the I guess rap beats, boom bap beats. When we're talking about people who always preach Dilla or Premier or Ninth Wonder or Swizz, like they were sampling records, and then other people went on to sample the same records, the same. When DJs talk about breaks and break records, these aren't people going out and doing drums and then putting them on records. It's breaks from other popular music, stolen, 100% stolen, put it on a record for someone else to use, and then they steal it and call it being original. and you're saying that that's somehow less the same than a trap person who got a drum set that was made from some electronic synthesizer out of, sound design. That's somehow because other people were using similar drums that are designed similar, that's any more exact or any less exact than someone sampling the same drum. I sympathize with his argument because I used to be there as well, but then I stopped being a conservative hip hopper who thought rap music could only be made in one way.
There needs to be, and I think with any similarity between any genres, that similarity needs to stay there. Otherwise, you're not even in the genre. If I'm like, hey, I make trap music, and I'm like, but I want to keep making it different, and I change this, change that, before you know it, I'm making metal. You know what I mean? I'm not even in trap anymore. There needs to be similarities to establish certain genres. You need the same guitar in every country song. You need hard electrics in every metal song. There needs to be similarities.
Heard all that, got you. And it's not an attack, man. So don't put out a video coming at me like, yo, so this fool A think he know what I gotta do with the accent. So this fool A come and think she knows how to.
I thought we were attacking him. Hey, you're screwing me all up. We were here to attack him. That's why we came on.
Hey, we're here on the assault charges.
we said we were talking about it yesterday. We're gonna get on there and really tear him apart. Actually, I said that before Janae came home from break. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. No, we're not. We're just we're hey, boom.